Down memory lane, we'll meet our old friends again. Stars of yesterday, from Hollywood and Broadway, they'll linger with us throughout the long years. They brought us laughter and they brought us tears. Down memory lane, we'll meet our old friends again.
Mr. Sobel, James Wellington, that good-looking announcer from NBC is here. Richard Gordon is with him.
Oh, fine. Send them both in. Old Lady Luck's still with us, kid. That Richard Gordon is my column for tomorrow. You know who he is, don't you?
Why, yes, he's the man who does Sherlock Holmes on the radio.
Yes, and an ace criminologist on and off the air. He's working with the police on a number of swell cases.
Hello, Louis. How's the voice of Broadway?
Hello, Gordon. How are all the sweet mysteries of life?
Sour.
Hello,
Hello.
Jimmy. Say, you were swell the other night, stooging for Eddie Cantor. Meant to tell you about it.
Yeah, he's good too. You busy, Lou?
Well, busy looking for something to get busy on. Say, my memory lane for tomorrow's going off on a bolt, and I'm stuck.
Well, I can remember once up in the studio.
Oh,
Whenever.
never mind, Jimmy. Gordon here is going to tell me my bedtime story.
Yeah?
Say, Dick, you ought to be able to tell me a bunch of choice hair razors.
And you can use them no matter how you look at it.
Only pounds, Jack in.
Seriously, though, Lou, Gordon's got a tip for you. Do you remember Theodore Anson?
Anson. Oh, you mean that old fellow with the oodles of dough was bumped off a few months ago?
Yes, the man that invented that deadly war gas.
Yeah, what about it?
Well, plenty if you can get Dick to tell you about it.
Oh, come on, Dick. I'm a brother elk.
Yeah, I saw you post it. Well, on the night of the murder, Jimmy was announcing, injecting a note of romance into our program. Our own star of radio, Jack Fulton, the golden voice of the air, is heard in A Boy and a Girl Were Dancing.
A boy and a girl were dancing, the same as we're dancing tonight. A boy and a girl romancing, he kissed her and held her so tight. Right then and there, they vowed to care. Their love affair was beautiful, wonderful, for they fell in love while dancing. I'm the boy, you're the girl, sweetheart. A boy and a girl were dancing, the same as we're dancing tonight. A boy and a girl romancing, he kissed her and held her so tight. Right then and there, they vowed to care. Their love affair was beautiful, wonderful, for they fell in love while dancing. I'm the boy, you're the girl, sweetheart.
Miss Holden, Where do I broadcast tonight?
Sherlock Holmes program, Studio D, 9 o'clock.
Yes, I know Studio D, but where is Studio D? I can't find it.
Right down the hall, first door to your right. Better hurry, you're a little bit late.
Where do I am?
Can you beat that? Sherlock Holmes, and he can't even find Studio D.
And Mr. Richard Gordon, who plays the character of Sherlock Holmes and his supporting cast, all wish to thank their listeners for making it possible for them to win the Gold Cup, recently awarded in the nationwide popularity contest. And now to our story. As the scene opens in the home of Sherlock Holmes, he and Dr. Watson are enjoying their usual after-dinner cup of coffee in front of the fireplace.
Watson, the last time you were here, I promised that on your next visit, I would tell you of the most perfect crime I have ever encountered. It was the Sir Hubert Boswell case. I was called to his home on the night of the murder and found Sir Hubert's body lying on the floor. The position of the body indicated that he had made a desperate effort to reach the phone to call for help. As there were no marks of violence on the body, the coroner was satisfied to pronounce it a case of death by heart failure, a decision with which I could not agree, because there was something in the expression of those dead, staring eyes that convinced me that he realized he was meeting death by a human hand. However, there seemed to be no clues to support my theory. Frankly, Watson, I was completely baffled. I decided to have a smoke and think things over. I was lighting my pipe with Sir Hubert's automatic lighter, which I had picked off the floor, and the first puff nearly cost me my life. That lighter, Watson, was the instrument of death. The murderer had filled it with a chemical solution, which, when lighted, gave off a deadly, poisonous gas, producing a paralysis of the throat which caused complete strangulation. It was obvious, Watson, that the murderer had a thorough knowledge of chemistry. But in spite of the fact that I had proven definitely that the murder had been committed, I was still confronted with the problem of establishing a motive that would lead to the apprehension of the criminal. At the time, it seemed quite simple. But do you know, Watson, that it took 3 years to bring this
Turn off that radio.
to its successful conclusion?
I told you before what I'd do. If you ever played that machine when I was trying to work. And now to prove that I mean what I said, I want you all to get out of my house. You're discharged. All of you. Every one of you. Get out! Get out! Get out!
Say, Dick, you certainly rise out of me tonight. That was one of the most thrilling stories I've ever heard in this series. How did they ever catch the murderer?
Elementary, my dear Wellington. Elementary.
Do I have to hear that again tonight? Here we are with that popular radio star, Alice Joy, the Dream Girl. Her distinctive voice heard in a song she did much to popularize. I'm a dreamer, aren't we all?
Aren't we all in search of happiness? To each one it means a different thing. To some it's wealth, to some it's health, to some it's only what love can bring. Please don't blame me if I'm human too, 'cause I'm the same as you, and you, and you. I'm a dreamer, aren't we all? Just a dreamer, aren't we all? In my dreams, each night it seems my sweetheart comes to call. darling, how I fall. His ideal and still he isn't real, and I'm a fool. But aren't we
Are you sure Mr. Ransom had no visitors last night? I'm positive. Why did you phone Grogan's express man to call and get your belongings at 10 o'clock last night?
We were leaving.
Yeah, I know you were leaving, but why were you all leaving? He threw us out. He made us leave. He fired us. And that made you sore, didn't it? Why did he fire you?
We were listening to the radio.
For listening to the radio. And you expect me to believe that, huh? Huh. They were listening to the radio. Right?
Radio? Wait a minute, Inspector. There might be something in that. There was a program on the air last night, one of those perfect crimes, all about a guy being murdered with a cigarette lighter.
Cigarette lighter? What program was it?
Sherlock Holmes on station WEAF.
Bibi, call WEAF. Get the guy that plays Sherlock Holmes and have him come down here at once. Okay. Guess you better take this hat and coat. Looks like I'm going to be here for quite a while.
I know, Dick, but all that was printed in the papers at the time of the murder.
Yes, but the rest of that story never reached the front pages.
That's right, Louis. That afternoon, I arrived at the Anson home and introduced myself to Inspector Farrell.
I'm informed that in your broadcast last night, you told the story of a perfect crime, a murder committed with a cigarette lighter.
That's right.
Perhaps it might interest you to know that this was found beside Anson's body.
How about these fingerprints?
Only the murdered man's.
Have you anyone under suspicion?
Well, Anson had many enemies, but so far as we've been able to discover, there was no one present in the house last night but the servants.
This is as baffling a case as the original. You know it took several years to solve that.
Well, that's not very encouraging. Have a cigar. Well, your knowledge of that case ought to prove of great assistance to us in solving this one. Sit down.
Sure.
Now, I'm going to tell you all the facts in this case that I have been able to unearth. There were 4 servants in this house, all employed by Anson.
Inspector, the circumstances have convinced me that this crime was suggested by one of my broadcasts. The murderer was undoubtedly a maniac. If he runs psychologically true to form, I feel sure that he can be made to expose his guilt.
How, Mr. Gordon?
May I speak to the servants?
Oh, Levy. Levy, bring in the help.
Yes, sir.
But I don't think you'll get much from that outfit.
Maybe not. Oh. I understand that you listened to my broadcast last night.
Who are you? Rudy Fowler?
Elementary, my dear young man, elementary. I'm afraid these people don't recognize me, Inspector.
It was a pleasant surprise when Inspector Farrell told me that you were followers of my mystery story.
I'm going to appear on an all-star program tonight, and Inspector Farrell was good enough to give me a splendid idea for my share of the program. I'm going to announce the murderer of Theodore Anson. I'm sure you will all be listening. That's all, Inspector.
Well, your plan is a very dangerous one, Mr. Gordon. But still, if you're willing to take the risk...
Certainly. I'll take my chance.
All right. Levy?
Yes, sir.
You cover that exit over there. Pat and I will watch the elevators from time for the broadcast, then I'll take the studio. Now, they expect quite an audience, so keep your eyes open.
Jimmy.
Yes, Dick. What can I do for you?
Just the fellow I've been looking for. Now listen, when I reach my climax tonight, I'll give you a signal, and I want you to put out every light in the studio.
What are you trying to do? Give the public an extra thrill?
Well, you may get a thrill yourself.
No, Jimmy. That's Inspector Farrell.
How do you do?
Now, this is dead serious, Jimmy. I'll explain to you later. Now, don't forget, every light in the studio.
All right, Dick. You can depend on me.
Good.
This is station WEAF, New York. And now we introduce Paul Whiteman's latest protege, radio's newest sensation, charming little Peggy Healy, who will sing in her own sweet way, fit as a fiddle.
I'm fit as fiddle and ready for love. I could jump over the moon up, fit as fiddle and ready for love. I have no worries, have no care, be like that that's floating on air, fit as fiddle and ready for love. Soon the church bells will be ringing, and I'll march with Mom Paul. How the church bells will be ringing, with a hey nun nunny and a hot cha-cha. Hi dip diddle, my baby's okay. Ask me a riddle, what did he say? Fit as fiddle and ready for love. I'm fit as fiddle and ready for love. I can jump over the moon up above, fit as fiddle and ready for love. I haven't to worry, I have to care. Feel like that's floating on air. Fit as fiddle and ready for love. Soon the church bells will be ringing, and I'll march with Mom Paul. How the church bells will be ringing, with a hey nun nunny and a hot cha-cha. Hi dip diddle, my baby's okay. Ask me a riddle, what did he say? Fit as fiddle and ready for love.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now come to a serious note on our program. Mr. Richard Gordon, whom you all know as the Sherlock Holmes of the air, will now tell us some unpublished facts concerning the recent Anson murder.
The murder of Theodore Anson has caused a nationwide sensation. I have become personally interested in this case and have made my own deductions. This is just another case of where a perfect crime was planned. But the old saying, murder will out, is still infallible. This murder is what is known as an inside job. The guilt can only rest on one of four persons. I have made a careful analysis of the characteristics of these four people and have been led to conclude that the person who foully murdered Theodore Anson was...
Get back! Hey, all of you! I told you nobody is going to leave this room. Don't touch that gun. Gordon, your plan worked. The murderer is in this room, but that makes the mystery all the greater. For not one of the Anson servants is in this room.
Oh, perhaps not. Have a cigar.
Thanks.
Get out of my way! Get out of my way!
Let me go, do you hear? You can't keep me here. Let me go. Let me go.
There's your man, Inspector.
Great work, Gordon. How did you know him?
The beard wasn't big enough to cover those butler's elbows.
Take him away, Lloyd. Take him away.
Baby, that's the sweetest story ever told to a colonist.
What did I tell you? Isn't that a pip?
Yeah, but one thing puzzles me. I heard Peggy Healy that night, but I don't remember hearing anything like that.
Of course not, Louis. We were using a dead microphone.
Naturally, we couldn't let a thing like that go out over the air.
No, I suppose not.
Yeah.
No. No lighters for me. I'm strictly for matches from now on.